This is an exclusive presentation of Super League's opening weekend on Peacock.
Welcome to the Queen City, where we are ready to usher in a new era in women's professional soccer. We're ready to take flight with Carolina Ascent and DC Power. This is your chance to be part of the movement, because this is our moment. Welcome to the USL Super League on Peacock. From American Legion Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, it's Carolina Ascent and DC Power. Tonight's match is presented by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent. With the former Georgia forward Marion Crowder, I'm Josh Eastern. The former Penn State defender Anna Whitty will join us momentarily. The USL Super League's inaugural season is made up of 8 teams spanning from the Pacific Northwest to South Florida, and so much opportunity in between.
And it's only going to continue to grow, Josh. And opportunity is what it's all about. Opportunities for players and bringing more communities into the momentum that women's soccer has been building over the last several years.
Now we welcome in Anna Whitty.
President Amanda Vandervoort, this game just continues to get bigger and bigger. What is your expectation for how this league is going to impact the landscape?
Oh, it's amazing. What a moment. What a movement we're experiencing in women's sports broadly and in women's professional soccer. And the USL Super League kicking off today, it's unbelievable. We're bringing more women's professional soccer to more communities across the United States than ever before, and filling a gap where there's people in these cities who want women's soccer, and we're delivering that with the USL Super League.
You've said, and you believe strongly, that you're building a players' league. How do you define that?
Yeah, well, I don't define it. You ask the players what they want in a soccer league. So the last 2 weeks I've been traveling, meeting all the players across the league, going to their training and sitting and listening to their questions and asking them what do they want in the USL Super League. So we'll do that consistently throughout the season, and I think building something that's immediately viable here. You see a sellout today in Carolina, but sustainable for the long term, because we're building a generational project here. So not only these players, but their kids 20 years from now will be playing in this league, and that's something that we're building, and I'm incredibly proud.
Well, thank you so much, and enjoy this match.
Thank you, Anna.
Tonight's player to watch, presented by Food Lion. For Carolina Ascent, it's defender Vicky Bruce, the first signing in club history.
Vicky Bruce is the embodiment of what USL Super League is all about, an experienced professional with the ties to the local community. So she'll be key in creating stability for this organization, but also providing leadership early on as Carolina tries to figure out their identity. And then when we look to DC Power, it's all about the powerhouse up top in Jorian Bauckham, a top youth talent and a now experienced professional playing for some of the top clubs all over the UK. She comes back to the United States, and she is going to look to make her mark early on.
The forward, also the first sighting in DC Power history. We are building you up to first kick tonight from Charlotte and American Legion Memorial Stadium, the inaugural match in the USL Super League. Carolina and DC next.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blaze the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
When it comes to delivering high quality, affordable health care, relationships matter. And after 90 years, we're proud of the relationships we've built with you, North Carolina. We're collaborating with leaders like Vici, supporting her efforts to help schools address the mental health needs of students, and foster care moms like Gail, working with her to ensure our state's most vulnerable children are thriving, and caregivers like Maya, partnering with her to improve maternal health. From lowering costs to building healthier communities, we are committed to improving the health and well-being of everyone across this state. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina is not your typical health insurer. We're 5,000 neighbors, friends, and family working hard to make healthcare affordable, easier to navigate, and accessible for all. North Carolina is our home. We're here for you, all of you.
Tonight's match is presented by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent. The match ball being delivered from the Skydive Carolina demo team and Tony Narlington School of Shred as it comes out of the sky here in Charlotte. Tonight's starting lineups are presented by Capelli, the first 11 in Carolina Ascent history for head coach Philip Poole.
Yeah, on paper, Josh, this is going to look like a 4-3-3, but this is a club under Philip Poole who will look to be quite flexible within that structure. Vicky Bruce, Annika Creel will anchor the back line with Renee Guion and North Carolina native Ashlyn Sarepka on either side. Taylor Porter's going to command the midfield, a former NWSL champion with the Portland Thorns. And then when we look to DC Power, they're going to look at this 4-2-3-1. So Carolina's going to have to sort through early on the numbers advantage DC Power will have. The double pivots will be the two Stanford alums, Katie Duong, Mariah Lee. Providing a link between the defense and Jorian Baucom is going to be Charlie Escort, Katrina Guillot, and 12-year pro in Grace Enoch.
That is the starting 11 for head coach Frederick Brion and DC Power. All right, here we go. It is the inaugural match of the USL Super League. The first of 3 matches on this opening weekend. Spokane and Fort Lauderdale will take to the field in just a couple of hours in Spokane, Washington. Tomorrow in Tampa Bay, it will be Tampa Bay Sun and Dallas Trinity. This has to be such a thrill. To the USL Super League, we are underway. It's DC Power and Carolina Ascent, and already Carolina coming forward and trying to find that elusive first goal. This cross too far out of play, and it'll be out for a goal kick. This Carolina Ascent side, the head coach, Philip Poole, a former U.S. Women's National Team assistant coach. He's been there for the last 4 years, but when he said he got the call for this job, he said it was almost too good to be true. He couldn't turn it down. He's lived in Charlotte now for about 25 years. He grew up in England, but now heading up this new project with Carolina Ascent and ready to lead them into the future as they start this league off tonight. Battle forward in the middle. The first touches for DC Power, but some good pressure high up the field by Carolina early on. And that's something we talked to all the coaches about, and there was so much unknown going into what we'd see from each team. How does that affect how these teams approach the game tonight?
At the end of the day, it just turns the lens inward. You have to be at your very best when you really don't know the strengths or weaknesses of your opponent. And with that being said, Josh, in my opinion, it really just takes a little bit of pressure off of the game because you truly just focus on your teammates, what you can bring to the table. And it really is going to be who can find their identity fastest in this opening game.
DC Power looking to start from the back, and goalkeeper Morgan Aquino, the Australian, the #1 for DC to start. DC looking to build out through a bit of Carolina pressure, and they win it back high up the field. Guion cutting it back, looking for an option centrally, broken up. And DC now will look to run the other way. Escort hands it off, and DC will start at the back again. In terms of style of play for DC Power, head coach Frederick Briand said, well, when I played, I like to have the ball, so that's how I want my team to play. As this is touched away again, and DC Power win it back. They'll go all the way back to Morgan Aquino. And the clearance out of play, nothing doing for DC. These are just some of the growing pains that we'll see here early on. Our keys to the game tonight are presented by Train Tech.
For DC Power, it's going to be about blinders on. We're already seeing that American Legion Memorial Stadium is going to be a tough place to play. So find your focus, make it what's happening between the lines, and then weather the storm. We're seeing early on, the home team's going to come out swinging and push the tempo. So if you're the away side, weathering those moments, growing into the match. And then for Carolina, use this crowd, utilize this kind of energy, and try to get the first goal.
The cross floated in and out of play. Another goal kick for DC Power. All of these players now have gone through maybe an abbreviated preseason. Some of them coming straight out of college. That's a look at Frederick Briand, who said that this team has only been together now for about 3.5 weeks, the entire group. They started preseason about 6 weeks ago. He says it's been a bit of a struggle to get it all together. They put it on the field, and they said, we're going to go through some growing pains, but we're going to put this together at some point as the season goes along. Here's Guion looking centrally. Those leg sleeves, all the rave these days as it's taken away. Looking to play it up top for Bockham as it runs out for a throw-in. Heading on to Frederick Briand. It's his first head coaching job, coming off his stint with the Utah Royals in the NWSL, where he was an assistant earlier this year. The last 2 seasons, he was an assistant coach with DC United in Major League Soccer, where he finished his pro career. He was a pro from 2005 to 2021. Now his first head coaching job. And the same goes for Philip Poole. This is a back pass for Aquino, just getting a touch on it. DC Power trying to keep it in the middle. Again turned over, and DC will look to start from the back. So that's something we've noticed here early on, is that DC looks like they want to build from the back and be on the ball. Our injury report is presented by Novit Health. Nobody reported for DC. It's only Ellie Beard, the Portland, Oregon native, who misses out tonight for Carolina with a lower leg injury. Off to the near side. Here's Charlie Escort. The few internationals on the team for DC Power from England, but a Welsh international. Here's Escort again, looking to play this in behind. Jorian Bockham's onto it. Bockham, and a sliding challenge put in by Vicky Bruce. Out for a corner.
Well, Josh, we didn't highlight Vicky Bruce in the open for no reason, and this is going to be a matchup to keep your eye on for the remainder of this match. Jorian Bockham meets Vicky Bruce. That's all Americans. That's top youth national team talent. Just going 1v1, and whose individual battle, whose individual effort will win. And so far early on, it's been Vicky Bruce, but what a start for DC Power.
Bruce from Cornelius, North Carolina. Played at North Carolina, Chapel Hill, then transferred to Davidson to close out her college career. And now the first corner of the game comes in, couldn't get it by the first player. Return to sender and then lofted in again. And the header away by Carolina, but DC's able to keep it in this attacking third. Towards the top of the area, the give and go. Appeals for offside. And the flag does come up. It goes back to Carolina.
Two things in that sequence that we can point out about the identities for both of these squads. I think that we've seen early on, Carolina Ascent has a really nice defensive structure to them. They've been very disciplined. They've been okay without the ball, which is not an easy thing to do. And then on the flip side, DC Power, Josh, you mentioned it early on, a team that they want to be on the ball. They want to enjoy those moments of small combination play. And so they'll try to lull you to sleep. They'll play left to right, and then in one instance, in just one pass potentially, they're trying to thread lines. And we saw all of that in the spell of that short attacking moment for DC.
Just saw a look at Philip Poole. We mentioned his time with the U.S. Women's National Team. Said it's a bit apprehensive to have to miss the Olympics, but he said this was an opportunity I could not turn down. He said what's so cool about a project like this, it's a blank slate. Nothing has come before. You dictate the style, the players, the culture, and there's real accountability for the decisions you make early on in this club's history. It's something every team in the Super League will go through in their first matches as the weeks go by.
And I've got to commend not only him, but everyone is going to go through that. And so as eloquently as you just laid out that responsibility that is involved, Josh, with starting a project like this, the fact that Philip Poole and the rest of the members in this inaugural Super League season haven't shied away from that responsibility, that kind of a burden, all power to them.
Whistle here, and a free kick will go DC's way. Catherine Gonzalez, the Dominican Republic international, getting tangled up. Free kick for DC Power, and they elect to keep the ball. Back to Aquino, and again, it's DC looking to build out. Trying to work it down the line. Challenge put in, appeals for a foul, and now the whistle comes. And another free kick for DC Power. And a yellow card will also be issued.
And here is our witness at a future trivia question. Who garnered the first yellow card in the USL Super League? Renee Guion. Congratulations.
There's going to be a lot of trivia questions ticked off in this game tonight. Guion into the book, the Simpsonville, South Carolina native. Played her college soccer at Clemson before going pro in Lithuania and Denmark. That yellow card brought to you by Apollo Law. A free kick right in front of the Carolina bench. This one lofted up, the heads go up, and the clearing header as this caroms into the corner and out for a throw-in. Coming up at halftime, we will dive deep into the Super League in its inaugural season. It's presented by Bellevue University. DC has been the team on the front foot so far to start, and they're looking forward again here. Another ball lofted in. Another header away. Right now, Carolina is struggling to get on the ball. These are all of these questions that are slowly being answered. Who's going to be on the front foot in these games? As it comes into the corner again. And this time, a missed touch and out for a goal kick.
And regardless of how much time you have during preseason, whether it's 6 weeks or 6 months, one of the last pieces to come into play is going to be the relationships within the final third, the timing of the runs, the type of delivery certain players have within the box. And both coaches echoed that is a little bit of the missing piece, something that they hope to see improved upon today. And DC Power getting into the final third quite well, just missing that last bit.
So interesting when you look at really all the players, where they're coming from. A lot from Europe who have played professionally in their years out of college. Some are in their first seasons out of college.
Right.
But when you look at that, the European schedule, as this USL Super League is on as well, the global soccer calendar, that goes from about now until May. So some players had a full off season, if you want to call it that. It's only 2 months in soccer these days. But some of the college players, they last played their a game all the way back in November or December. So it's very different for player by player coming into this league where they're at with their fitness levels.
And Josh, you know this as well as anybody. Game fitness is something that is very hard to come by. You can train and you can have all the touches on the ball that you want, but getting truly game fit really requires a very structured preseason. So that is also a component that we'll see early on in these first few Super League matches, is just the fitness component.
Sent back for Aquino, some pressure on the Australian goalkeeper. And DC look to build out again.
And we've seen multiple times now, Josh, that Harding has been pressing the DC Power goalkeeper. But with that, her players haven't stepped up behind her. And it's been too easy of an outlet pass for Aquino to find someone amidst the pressure.
It's Jorian Bockham going to ground, coming off a 29-goal season with Hibs in Scotland. The first signing in DC Power history. Time in the NWSL with Racing Louisville and the North Carolina Courage, but also time internationally in Portugal, Czechia, and Germany. It seems early on that a lot of this DC Power game plan is focused around Bockham up top.
If I scored that many goals, I'd hope it'd be focused on me too.
Should we get into your Georgia stats?
No, please don't.
Okay, I had a feeling. On the turn, trying to cut this infield, now going end line and touched out of play. A corner kick coming as Annika Creel put the challenge in for Carolina.
That was a brilliant turn from Grace Ingok. Played on the half turn, found herself front-facing goal. And perhaps instead of trying a little cutback, she should have just had it one time. But it does go out for a corner kick nonetheless. And as the away side, you put more and more focus on these dead ball situations. What an opportunity to get yourself an early one.
Another corner floated up, back post. Bockham got a flick on it. And out of play, it's a goal kick.
That ball was played over the end line.
And a player down for Carolina. It's Jill Aguilera, a Puerto Rican international.
Oh, and it was the way that she came down, went up, won that header, came down just a little funky on that ankle. Here's going to be a better look at it. You see her go up, and right there, just turns right underneath her. I can tell you from experience, that is a painful way to go down, and you just hope that she can get up and continue on with this match.
Aguilera, a player with so much pro experience in the United States and internationally. Puerto Rico international, helping lead Puerto Rico to the W Gold Cup earlier on this year. They beat Haiti in a preliminary round match. Bit of an upset, but Puerto Rico moving on and making some noise. The reason they were eliminated, Puerto Rico, was drawing of lots. Never seen that happen, but it happened. Aguilera still down, and looks like she is in some sort of pain here. As Philip Poole, head coach for Carolina, might have to dip into his bench a bit earlier than he would have hoped.
So if I'm both head coaches right now, I'm Fred, I'm telling my DC Power team, hey, continue to look for those balls over the top. We have a bit of a speed mismatch. We've got some creativity up there that are really likely to win in 1v1 situations. And then if I'm Philip on the other side, I'm asking someone to make an impact, right? Go in for a big challenge, have a hard tackle, have a good ball over the top, put some pressure onto the away side, get this crowd back into it. It's been a little bit dead since the opening whistle. But with that, if they're going to go press, it's got to be a little bit tighter in the space behind them. One player goes, the others have to close the outlets behind.
Aguilera coming off the field. If you're looking to be a part of history in the Carolinas this inaugural season, but missed your chance at season tickets, check out Carolina Ascent prorated season tickets starting at just $12 per game. Visit carolinaascent.com/tickets to learn more. Carolina will start from the back, down to 10 momentarily as Aguilera is still being checked on. Looked like she was walking off with a pretty sizable limp. And play this down the line, but again covered well by DC Power. We've seen in the early going is DC wanting to be on the ball, and here they are again with Charlie Escort. They play it over the top as it bounces out for another throw-in, and this will be the end of the day for Jill Aguilera. That is Sydney Studer who comes on, the Corona, California native. The substitution brought to you by Train Tech. Her first pro season was with the Kansas City Current in the preseason. Played her college soccer at Washington State and then Oregon State. So they make up the Pac-2 now.
Conference realignments.
That's what it's all about, affecting everybody at every level of the college soccer pyramid. Loose pass collected. DC able to keep it. Now looking to progress down the near side. Escort making the run. There's Bruce coming over as well. Knocks it out. It's another corner for DC already. Their third of the game.
And that will be a corner kick for DC Power, brought to you by Nucor.
Great crowd on hand at American Legion Memorial Stadium.
Taking the kick will be
It's been
number
DC
9.
on the front foot tonight to start. Katie Duong will stand over it. Former Minnesota Aurora player in the USLW League. Floated in towards the penalty spot, comes all the way through. Maybe a chance to hit this from distance, instead lifted in and towards goal and taken by Megan McClelland.
That's well taken by McClellan. She's been called upon far too much, far too often in this first half, especially for being the home side, but she comes up brave nonetheless, collects it, takes a little bit of a hit from Jorian Bockham, but you have a feeling, Josh, that this DC Power squad, they are knocking, and if Carolina does not start to gain some kind of tempo, gain some sort of territory, it won't be long before DC Power nets the first one of this match.
Is it as simple as just getting on the ball and just keeping DC off of it?
Yeah, I think we can make it as simple or as complex as we want it to be. And from a simplistic view, it's just been technically too sloppy for Carolina. The ideas are there, the runs are there, but far too many easy giveaways.
Trying to play this in behind, and again, Vicky Bruce there to get a touch on it. And that's a player we keyed in on in the open, and she's showing it here early on. On the turn, nothing doing. This ball will stay in play only momentarily, right in front of Frederic Briand. Must be pleased with how his team has started this game. All Carolina Ascent FC single game tickets are now on sale. Join the climb today at carolinaascentfc.com/tickets.
Much better from Carolina. DC Power, you can tell they want to try to pin them into one side, and there were acres of space available to Carolina if they could just switch the point. Excellent build out from the home side.
Here's Harding, laying it off for Taylor Porter, the captain of this Carolina Ascent side. A couple years with the Portland Thorns, also time in Serbia, but played her college soccer here in the Carolinas. At NC State did Porter. This ball comes out of play again. Tuong through the lines. Tuong gets back on it. Looking to connect with Bockham and Bruce. Back for McClelland, who gets rid of it.
Vicky Bruce, she reads the game so well, doesn't she? Doesn't really leave a lot to chance, doesn't force McClelland into decisions where perhaps she should stay, should she go. Vicky Bruce makes the decision, playing such a big leadership role for Carolina Ascent this year, not only as the anchor, the center back, but also as their first signing and a player who this really means much more than just what's happening throughout the 90 minutes.
Bruce, who last played with the Western Sydney Wanderers in Australia, spells in Denmark and England as well. Here's Creel. Now Carolina getting a bit more time on the ball, but what can they make of it? Tricoli. Again, Porter will turn it back for Annika Creel. Another ball floated forward, and this time put out of play, trying to connect with Ashlyn Sarepka. Is there anything that's stuck out to you in these opening 25 minutes?
I've been really impressed with the way that DC has just put it on the ground and played. They seem to really come alive when they're building through the thirds. For Carolina, there's a bit of a punch there, right? You see the sparks of the tempo, a faster type of game. But again, it comes down to being a little bit technically more proficient, cleaner in the execution. Ideas great all around from both sides.
We are learning just along with you how these teams are going to play, what we're going to see from this league. These teams have played a couple of friendlies. Carolina played a game against South Carolina back on August 5th. It was a 1-1 draw. It's Jill Aguilera who scored that lone goal. DC Power taking on some college teams in the Carolinas as well. Header and a whistle. It'll be a free kick on the way for Carolina. Free kick on the way for Carolina. Trying to get some bodies forward and get something going towards goal. It's been DC on the front foot thus far. Floated forward. The heads go up. Creel puts it in front. There it is! The first goal in USL Super League history, scored by Carolina Ascent, 1-0.
and take it in. Take it in. Philip Poole's taking it in, and I'm going to take you through this replay. We talked about Vicky Bruce. We talked about the monumental talent that she is, and well done from the recycled run on the back post. Does just enough to keep it in the mix. And who is it but Vicky Bruce? Fitting. I could not imagine a better person, a better player to get the first goal for Carolina Ascent than Vicky Bruce.
Maybe not the one we thought would be the trivia question. Has only scored 8 goals in her professional career, but she gets one here. That Carolina Ascent goal is presented by Food Lion. Score to give me more. And Vicky Bruce, we've been talking about her more from a defensive perspective so far, but coming up on the offensive side for Carolina Ascent.
I mean, how about that? Both center backs.
Gonna play this ahead for Bockham, who will look to track it down. Deflection out of play, and another corner kick on the way for DC.
And that will be a corner kick for the DC Power, brought to you by Nucor. Taking the kick will be number 9,
The 4th corner kick of the game for DC Power. And Duong standing over it again. Floated in. Comes off to the far side. A chance to shoot. And the shot is well wide. Carolina is sent against the run of play. And they get a free kick and they take advantage.
Yeah, we talk about dead ball situations, and I just got to give credit to Annika Krill doing anything she could to keep that alive. She knew it wasn't the play to put it on frame. She just puts a header back into the mixer, and that's just Vicky Bruce wanting it more than the other players on the field. First ever USL Super League goal. What a moment for Vicky Bruce. And my favorite part really of that replay, Josh, was just watching Philip Poole's reaction, the head coach for Carolina Ascent. He just looked to the crowd, just clapped it, and just seemed like he was trying to take it all in and have a picture-perfect memory of what this moment was like.
Philip Poole said it was going to be high energy in the stadium. We want to rise to that occasion. And maybe a bit of a tough start for Carolina, not being maybe on the ball as much as maybe he would have liked, but getting that first goal has to be pretty relieving. At the half-hour mark, the inaugural match in the USL Super League. First of 3 matches up this weekend. Spokane and Fort Lauderdale will go at it in just a little bit tonight here on Peacock. Big collision. It goes DC's way. It'll just be a throw-in as Escort is down.
A tough challenge. Vicky Bruce has been all over the place. Slide tackles, aerial challenges, 18-yard boxes. That is a captain that leads by example. And for DC Power, now it's going to be about weathering a bit of that storm. We talked about that early on in their keys to the game. This environment obviously is not a very friendly place to play for the opposition. You've also got to deal with the rain now, and so how can you weather the momentum switches that are going to occur in this game? We talk about the first 5 minutes after a big moment, whether that's a goal, whether that's an injury, and coming out and really trying to grab onto those first 5 minutes. For DC Power, that opportunity is now. And what a test of character early on for this group. You go down away from home, how do you respond? For Philip Poole, his team came out and set the tone. And for Fred Breon, it's now about finding what your team's character is made of.
Bucket hats, fireworks, stadium blankets, and more. The Carolina Ascent has you covered with giveaways all season long. Guarantee your favorite giveaways and choose 3 matches and 3 games on your schedule your way. For more information about our 3-game mini plan, visit CarolinaAscent.com/tickets.
With every goal scored by the Ascent this season, Food Lion is donating
escort
1,000
coming off the field
meals to
just
Second
momentarily.
Harvest Food Bank.
The Welsh international 40 caps played last for Reading in the WSL in England. Vicky Bruce has been at the center of everything so far for Carolina Ascent. The heart of that back line and the lone goal scorer in USL Super League history thus far.
And we need to be honest, right? When you're trying to figure out your identity as a team, it's a hard balance to understand playing within those principles, but also winning matches. And so as teams are trying to identify who they are as an 11, as an 18, there are also going to have to be moments where individuals step up to make some big-time plays. And Vicky Bruce has done just that. And now she's given her team a little bit of a buffer and a little bit more freedom to play and close this first half out.
Does it feel like they built into this game a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. It started out hot, right? And then DC Power did such a good job of coming in and trying to set the tempo. And now that they have gotten that first goal, they feel more relaxed on the ball. Things aren't as rushed.
Tricoli was able to keep it in a tough spot, and now Carolina can work it around the back. Here's Bruce. Up into a tough spot, but another throw-in for Carolina. On the turn. And now looking infield, just too much on the pass. Bruce there to break it up. Tricoli couldn't keep it. And now Ingok. Ingok elects just to turn it back, and DC wants some time on the ball. Abby Lee Stringer. Coming into the middle. And out of play, a throw-in for DC. Fredericks gets it back in play. He's trying to loft it forward. Looking for width. As Escort on the underlap instead, trying to go end line and just ran out of room. Ingok could not get the cross away. Pardon me, that's Lee who couldn't get the cross back into the middle.
That ball was played over
Raya
the
Lee
line. Goal kick
from
for
Covington,
Carolina
Washington,
Ascent.
last played for Adelaide United in Australia. Under college soccer at Stanford and at Wake Forest. Bruce gonna loft it through the middle. Nothing on for Carolina. Escort taking off the ball and floated out wide. There's space available for DC. That's good work by Sydney Studer. Corner kick for DC Power already. It's their 5th corner of the game.
That will be a corner kick for DC Power, brought to you by Newport. Taking that kick will be number 9, Katie Duong.
Again, it's Duong to stand over the corner kick for DC. Floated in and punched away. Lofted back into the mixer. Another header to get it away. That time it was Guion. And maybe a chance to run for Carolina. Slight tug of the jersey as Gonzalez was pulled down, and a free kick for Carolina Ascent. Now it's Spiller just having a quick conversation. Food Lion and Carolina Ascent are partnering to fight food insecurity across the Carolinas. All goals made throughout this inaugural season will provide meals to benefit Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina through its hunger relief platform. Through the initiative known as Score to Give Me More, Food Lion will help provide 1,000 meals for every goal the team makes this season. Food Lion is the official grocer partner of the Carolina Ascent Football Club. Another free kick. Hanukkah Creel takes it quick and moves it out wide. Rene Guion having to track it down. Guion's cross, floated back post. A bit too strong. DeMarco couldn't track it down, and DC gets it out. Again, DC looking to build out. Stringer. Carolina with the first half goal through Vicky Bruce. 28th minute goal. Possession turned back over. Bruce. And now Guion. Floated over the top. Harding was offside. Final 5 minutes of the first half. It's gone back and forth. Both teams getting good spells on the ball, but right now it's Carolina with 55% of possession as the flag goes up. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Super League and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Creel and Bruce start it from the back for Carolina. Creel looking to go direct. Stringer with the header to get it out of harm's way. Stringer, another international signing for DC Power. Last played with West Ham. Spent her entire career in the WSL in England. Everton, Aston Villa, and Birmingham City.
It was interesting talking to coaches about the roster reconstruction. There seemed to be two themes for me. One was, especially for hotbeds like DC and like the Carolinas, it was important to get the local talent involved. And then it was also about making sure that you had experienced pros and not just someone who had been in a pro environment once. People who have started, people who have capped, people who have played entire seasons. Getting those kind of professionals on your team early on seemed to be the recipe most of coaches thought would be successful. And we're seeing early on just how impactful those veteran professionals are.
Handball and a free kick goes back to DC. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina is the official health insurance provider of Carolina Ascent FC. Blue Cross North Carolina makes health insurance easy. Discover employer, individual, family, Medicare, and Medicaid plans from Blue Cross NC. Better care starts here. slashed away, and a chance to look upfield. Gonzalez, and now Tricoli looking to slide it ahead. DeMarco against Stringer, tries to put it towards goal. No deflection, it's a goal kick.
That ball was played over the end line. Goal kick.
The only goal for Carolina coming on a set piece. Is there something you want to see a little bit more from in terms of build out? Because they've had 55% of the ball so far, Carolina.
For Carolina, I want to see a little bit more bite to their defensive pressure. We've seen sparks of them trying to press Aquino, and we've seen a lot of struggle for DC Power to build under that pressure. So can you close that up and be a bit more compact in your lines up top? And perhaps you turn over the ball in a really advantageous area.
Harding trying to get the cross in. Harding stays with it. Porter and DeMarco couldn't keep it. Tricoli is able to reset for Carolina with Creel.
Also for Carolina, there is an opportunity to overload the wide areas. They have some really talented playmakers, like an Ashlyn Sarepka over there on the right-hand side. Can they involve them a little bit more? But this is an opportunity for DC.
It's broken up, and there's space here on the near side. Mariah Lee running onto it. The cross to the back post. Bockham was up for it, but a good clearing header by Studer. And eventually out for a throw into DC. Ngok just trying to keep it alive for DC Power. Another ball, more of a hopeful ball, floated and taken by Megan McClellan. McClellan, who spent last season with Gotham in the NWSL, last played in Denmark, was part of the under-17 World Cup team with the United States as well back in 2016. As we enter 4 minutes of first half stoppage time, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
4 minutes of stoppage time. Stoppage time is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Gonna play this centrally. It's chested calmly back for Morgan Aquino. On the turn, here comes DC Power trying to close this first half strong, but a loose pass and out for a throw-in. Some of those growing pains. Frederick Briand, head coach for DC, is telling us about his playing style. He said, when I played, I wanted the ball. He says, I want the same for my team, but we don't need to be cute and pretty on the ball. We need to have effective possession and try to create some scoring opportunities. And so far in this game, just 2 shots, but none of them on target.
And so much of that is awareness.
This is floated forward, and Harding may have gotten a touch on it, but it's out for a Carolina throw instead.
Players who are efficient on the ball are players who are aware of their surroundings. And we talk about little details all the time from a coaching perspective, always telling players, hey, check your shoulder, know the 5 yards to your left, to your right, behind you, and be able to exploit those small spaces to then manipulate the rest of the back line. And so for DC Power right now, that's what we're missing a little bit of, that overall awareness player who can really shift and manipulate lines.
Broken up immediately, but Carolina gets it right back. Porter, and Carolina will reset at the back. Bruce out wide. Switch of play, looking to find space. It was a heavy first touch by Catherine Gonzalez and turned over. Here comes DC Power. Trying to play in Bockham down the line and out of play. Katie Duong has sent over every corner kick so far for DC. They've had 5 of them in this first half. Not a lot to show for it from an attacking sense. Carolina unable to keep the ball off the goal kick. A beautiful night here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Calm after a bit of a small rainstorm. Great way to usher in the USL Super League. This is the first of 3 matches this weekend. Spokane and Fort Lauderdale kicking off in about an hour. Tomorrow it'll be Tampa Bay and Dallas. And the referee has brought the first 45 minutes to a close. It is Carolina Ascent through Vicky Bruce that have a 1-goal advantage at the break.
A couple of things that I'd like to see from DC Power in the second half. Continue to look for those through balls into the wingers, but get more numbers into the box. It's far too easy for Carolina to mark the one runner who has been Jorian Bockham. They've done well to turn Carolina over multiple times, but there needs to be a bit more attention to the pass. But for Carolina, what a special moment. This was all them in the first half, and now it's all about getting the next one.
Let's send it down to Anna Whitty.
Thank you, Josh. Vicky, you just scored the first goal in the Super League in front of your home crowd who's cheering you on right here. What did you see to exploit their backline and find that goal?
Honestly, I didn't see anything. I just said, you know what? I want to score this. I want us to win. I want us to go ahead, do what we've been working on, and I just followed that ball, and we worked on these plays, and everything that could have went right, and I just happened to be in the right spot at the right time, and happy my first touch basically was in, and then now we're just going to hold in. We're going to hopefully, continue to keep the game going and give the fans what they want.
Thank you so much. Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Vicky Bruce, the first goal in USL Super League history. We have reached the break in Charlotte. It's Carolina Ascent 1. It's DC Power 0. Halftime is on the way, presented by Nucor.
I've played soccer since I was 4 years old. It's basically the center of my life. My sophomore year, I tore my left ACL. Soccer was my stress reliever, so getting that taken away from me, it was really hard.
Our first goal is to tell them that it's okay. You take away that layer of anxiety that comes with any injury, and then we start talking about the next steps.
I'm super grateful for Dr. Romanowski and all the people at Novant. I do not think that I'd be back without them. Soccer's been the biggest part of my life, so I'm glad to be back out on the field.
New flavors, the same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador, spiked bebidas.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
The 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I don't care. I paint the town red. story that much better.
The bright horses have broken free from the fields.
Are you ready? Ready for more games you love? Ready for more players, new rivals? Ready for more fans, new friends, and endless celebrations? This is Carolina's new women's pro soccer team, the Carolina Ascent, featuring the world's most exciting players connected to the global game, uniting the Carolinas. We are the Carolina Ascent, built for the Carolinas.
Going through an injury like that gives you a different outlook on life.
Kennedy sustained a complete rupture of his Achilles tendon playing basketball, and the way we decided mutually to approach it was surgically.
The team at Novine did a great job with keeping my spirits high throughout my process. They got me back to where I am today. What I look forward to in the future to me is getting back on the court, playing in front of fans that love the game as much as I do, giving them experience that they never had before.
Welcome back to American Legion Memorial Stadium in Charlotte. Halftime is presented by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent FC, who lead this game by 1-0. This is the inaugural weekend of the USL Super League, the new professional women's Division I soccer league in the United States, committed to providing more professional soccer opportunities for more women in more communities. Let's learn more.
Welcome to USL Super League 101, presented by Bellevue University. In the inaugural season, the USL Super League has 8 clubs competing across the country. And here are just some of the players to look out for. Brooklyn FC, the first pro women's soccer team to call Brooklyn home. Veteran defender Taylor Smith, who has made 10 appearances for the U.S. women's national team, anchors the Brooklyn back line. Carolina Ascent FC, representing both Carolinas, a hotbed for women's soccer. North Carolina native Vicky Bruce is back home, where she won an NCAA championship before starring for clubs in Europe and Australia. Dallas Trinity FC, the iconic Cotton Bowl, is their home stadium. Defender Amber Brooks has a decade of professional experience and has played for the U.S. women's national team. DC Power FC boasts a powerhouse ownership group of local businesswomen and star athletes. Former U.S. Youth national team star Jorian Bockham has featured for top clubs in the United States, Germany, Portugal, and Scotland. Fort Lauderdale United FC, the only Major League pro women's sports team in South Florida. Midfield playmaker Felicia Knox was an All-American for the University of Alabama. Lexington SC, where home games are in a new soccer-specific stadium built with women's sports front of mind. Arizona State alum Corey Sullivan is a prolific goal scorer who most recently featured for Scottish Premier League club Glasgow City FC. Spokane Zephyr FC, representing a new frontier in the soccer-mad Pacific Northwest. Forward Thais Reis has played for Brazil's youth national teams and starred for Spanish club Villarreal. Tampa Bay Sun FC, loaded with exciting world-class talent and featuring midfielder Erica Timrack, who has more than 200 professional games under her belt, along with 3 appearances for the U.S. women's national team. Throughout the season, you can catch every USL Super League match, including the playoffs, live on Peacock, and follow at USL Super League on social. The USL Super League is proud to bring more professional women's soccer to fans across the nation. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
The home openers are coming quick and fast in the USL Super League. One more tonight, another one tomorrow, and then not another one for a couple of weeks, but it'll be fun to see all of the new teams come into the league.
I'm so excited, Josh. This is going to be such an exciting slate, and it's only going to continue to grow.
And remember, it's all building to what everybody wants to be lifting at the end, and that is the sweet-looking trophy.
A trophy, baby! That's what it's all about. What a smooth and clean-looking trophy USL Super League has presented. I want to lift that at the end of this. You think they'll let us?
Probably not. Got to use white gloves at least. Well, we are at halftime in Charlotte. It's 1-0 to Carolina Ascent. Halftime is presented by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent. We'll have the second half coming up. First half highlights are presented by Nucor, and early on, not the start Carolina was looking for, an injury to Jill Aguilera.
Yeah, and it really seemed like Josh DC Power was on the front foot. They had several corner kicks in a row, and Jill Aguilera, an unfortunate go down for Carolina. But at the end of the day, Carolina grew into this match, and it's Annika Creel who does just enough on the back post, sends the ball back into the mixer for none other than Vicky Bruce, who really has been the highlight of the first half.
The first goal in USL Super League history goes to Vicky Bruce. Glad to welcome you back to American Legion Memorial Stadium here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The inaugural match of the new USL Super League. Our first half stats presented by Nucor. Not a lot of scoring chances in that first half, but Carolina took advantage of their opportunity.
And we thought that perhaps the final third was going to be a bit lacking. That's going to be one of the last pieces that these teams figure out as they're continuing to build relationships and build an overall identity. I think the positive thing for Carolina is that that possession number progressed very well throughout the first half.
There's the whistle, and we are underway with Marion Crowder and Anna Whitty down on the field. I'm Josh Eastern. Second half underway. DC and Carolina going at it in the inaugural match of the USL Super League. Pretty similar to what we saw in the first half. DC wanted to be on the ball. But at the end of that first half, it was Carolina that had more of the possession at 54%. Carolina, they don't have to be chasing this game. It's DC who has to find an equalizer tonight. Able to find space out wide, and here comes DC Power on the move. The cross coming in, taken by Megan McClelland.
What an opportunity for DC Power, a chance to really figure out the character of your team. You're down a goal, you're away from home, you're in a very tough place to play in a packed out stadium. And I have to imagine the message in the locker room was, how do we respond? What are we going to respond with? And are we gonna overcome this obstacle? Or are we just gonna fold? And early on, you can see that DC Power has picked up that sense of urgency.
Let's send it down to the field, and Anna Whitty, who has more.
Coach Briant said he was really happy with the first half and felt like this was a winnable game for his team. Offensively, he wants Balcom to continue to stretch.
This one runs out of play. It's a goal kick for Carolina Ascent. Frederick Briant said for his team, just want to be the best version of yourself in this first one. So the only way that we can start the game is to be focused on ourselves. And as Anna mentioned, Jorian Bockham has been that focal point so far for DC Power.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I asked of them coming out of that first half. Continue to look for those through balls. There are some obvious speed mismatches that we've already seen in the first half. And Jorian Bockham, a very capable 1v1 threat. Can you continue to focus on her, finding her in potentially advantageous situations with the center backs? And Josh, we mentioned it, but I want to revisit it. The 90-minute fitness has to be a question, right? Is it there? Have these teams had enough time to prepare for that 90-minute fit type of feel? And if I'm Jorian Bockham, I'm aware of that as the game goes on, there are gonna be fatigue in the legs. We've seen Vicky Bruce get up in the attack. We've seen both center backs actually get up in the attack. Can I potentially pose myself to have a little bit more energy here later in the game?
Quick passing from DC Power gets them into the attacking third. The cutback is deflected out, and a corner kick given to DC Power. They had 5 of them in the first half. This is the 6th to start the second half.
For DC Power, brought to you by Nucor. Taking the kick will be number 9, Katie Duong.
And again, Katie Duong standing over it for DC Power.
Just trying to get the shot. I was just trying to get the shot.
She needs to find every piece of real estate down there. Floated in, up for Bockham. Got to head to it. Now just trying to loft it towards goal. 2 players running at each other. They both backed away, and the ball bounces out of play.
That ball was played over the end line. Goal kick
It's a nice lofted ball into the box, and so many open players for DC Power. You have to wonder, would it have made more sense to just bring that down and have a shot on goal yourself?
DC able to keep it constant. Part of that back line, wearing the captain's armband for DC Power. Claire Constant, who played her college soccer at Virginia, is a Haitian international, 6 caps under her belt. Last played professionally in Portugal. Runs out of play, and a throw-in going Carolina's way. The upcoming schedule is brought to you by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent. Their next match will be against Lexington SC. That will be next Sunday, right here in Charlotte.
Specifically, what I'd like to see a little bit more for DC, as this is a really good opportunity for Carolina to build through the thirds. Now that they've switched the point of attack and DC has gotten the numbers back, can you control this ball and invite more numbers into the attack? But Josh, as I was mentioning with DC Power now on the ball, I would like to see them get their attacking midfielder more involved. They're asking a lot of Jorian Baucom with just these straight through runs. Perhaps it's gonna be more suitable to get past a defender like Vicky Bruce if you involve a little bit more combination in the final third, up to Jorian Baucom, back to the attacking mid, through to a third man.
Carolina able to get some time on the ball in this second half now. Bruce turns it back for McClelland. Studer, who was the first half substitute for the injured Jill Aguilera. Able to move this down the line. DeMarco sprung free. Options to either side. Picks out Audrey Harding. Harding's cross comes to the back post. And Tricoli was lunging but couldn't keep it.
And that ball was played over the end line.
What an excellent moment of build, and it all starts with Ashlyn Sarepka solving the pressure. She invites 3, finds the overlap, and now it's free and open space. Guess what? Another overlap finds even more open space over there on the right-hand side. They had runners in the box. It were well-timed runs. At the end of the day, the execution wasn't quite there. But Carolina is growing into this match more and more with every minute.
Here's Bruce. Carolina trying to keep their foot on the gas. Again, DeMarco, a very willing runner so far tonight for Carolina. Touchdown to play, and now it's Carolina's first corner kick. It is brought to you by Nucor.
And that will be a corner kick for Carolina Ascent, brought to you by
Been really impressed with DeMarco. She grew into the second part of the first half. Now we're seeing her make an immediate impact here in the second. A player who knows how to win, a 2023 Shield winner with San Diego.
It'll be an outswinger on the corner kick. As it's floated towards goal, the header, it's saved! Right place, right time for Morgan Aquino.
Morgan Aquino's just lucky this one came right to her. Did not seem ready. Her feet weren't prepped whatsoever. And the header just gets right into her hands. An inch left or right, and that is a goal. Unfortunate for Carolina.
You said it. If she's not standing in that exact spot, it's 2-0 Carolina. Some good momentum in this second half, but now a foul goes against Ashlyn Sarepka. upcoming schedule for DC Power. They'll take on Tampa Bay Sun FC. That'll be next Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's presented by Nucor. Another chance to cross. Chested down. And Studer on it again. Now Sarepka. Gonna play in behind. Constant and Harding tangled up. Aquino coming off her line and just deposits it out of play.
Harding's been a bit of a nuisance throughout the entirety of this match. A player who we saw put a lot of early pressure on Aquino, and now is just finding herself in those pockets of space in between the center backs, winning a lot of throw-ins, a lot of second balls for her home side.
Studer advancing forward to where that ball went out of play. Coming towards the end line. Harding. A takedown and a foul. This will go back to DC Power, and we can welcome back in Anna Whitty.
Thanks, Josh. Marion mentioned the fact that Balcom is trying to stretch that attack, and what really opens up for Coach Briot's side is the midfield, where they're really trying to build and creating more opportunities. But Coach Briot has been really happy with the first 45 minutes. They've created chances, they've created set pieces, and the last piece now was just finding that goal.
They've been chasing this game since the 28th minute goal by Vicky Bruce, and again trying to release Bockham, but it's taken in by Megan McClelland. Is it as simple as just playing a long ball over the top for Bockham, or does it need to be a bit more tactical for DC?
Vicky Bruce and Annika Creel have proven that it's not going to be quite that simple. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it is. When you have a player who is just lightning fast and good on the ball, it can be. But Vicky Bruce has done exceptionally well at reading those early deliveries. And so to go back to Anna and Fred's point, there's a lot of space opened up in the midfield because Bockham is drawing so much attention. So what you do with that then becomes your goal-scoring opportunity. Can you play a little bit more in an overloaded shape in the wide areas, pull some of the structure of Carolina's defense out into the width, and then perhaps you have a backside runner available for a service into the box. So it's playing on this balance, Josh, of going with urgency, but having patience within that urgency. It's a tough thing to do, to have patience when you're down a goal.
Still well over a half hour to go for DC. But just 2 shots so far and none on target as it's taken away. It's Guion who tried to play it centrally, and it's broken up. Duong playing it into the corner. It did rain a little bit earlier, so this turf may be a little bit quicker than it was. And out for a goal kick. The Carolina Ascent online storefront is live. Stock up for their next match on scarves, shirts, custom jerseys, and more. To shop, visit carolinaascent.myshopify.com. Sounds like you might be making a visit there soon.
I have to give some love to the kids of Carolina. I'm not going to go on a limb yet and say they're my favorite, because I don't want everybody coming for me, right? Yeah. Exactly. And I have to say as well, it's all about how it shows up on TV too. There's a little bit of that going on. But right now, I am loving Carolina's uniforms. I don't need my mentions, you know, all angry. We're going to have patience. We're going to let the rest of the teams play, and then, you know, we'll make our final decision.
Whistle to stop play, and that's the reason Megan McClelland is down. McClelland, the product of Kearney, New Jersey. Played her college soccer at Rutgers. And a team talk now for both DC and Carolina.
Do you want to take a look at how we got here? Because
Yes.
I sure do. It was one special moment from one special player, Vicky Bruce, on the back heel of Annika Krill. Center backs connecting and getting it done, not only in their defensive 18-yard box, but the attacking 18-yard box as well. And for a player like Vicky Bruce, who we know this means so much to, for Philip Poole, who you're seeing is just taking in the crowd, giving a heart to the home side. What a moment that will forever go down in this league's history.
Charlotte, such a great sports town with professional, of course, NFL team, a AAA baseball team, the Hornets as well in the NBA, but they've not had a women's professional team in this town since 2007, and the Charlotte Sting in the WNBA. It's now the only women's pro sports team in Charlotte, and you can see the support from some of those young women in the crowd that maybe can see what they want to be in a few years' time.
Exactly, and from my own experience, navigating the world as a young pro is a very difficult thing to do. And so to be able to provide the opportunity for these communities to come out and see a different path to the professional world, I can't understate the value that this league is providing and really the gap that it's closing. There needed to be more opportunities for women's professional soccer players, and this league is only going to continue to grow. 8 teams in the inaugural season, expected to grow to 20 by 2026.
Throw into DC, but another player down for Carolina.
Carolina Ascent substitution for number 9.
And substitutions for Carolina Ascent. They're brought to you by Train Tech. Mia Corbin and Riley Baisden entering.
For number 18.
Corbin, who last played for Brisbane Roar, originally from Maple Valley, Washington. Played her college soccer at Cal Berkeley. Will also be Riley Baisden entering, who last played in Australia with Perth Glory. Spent 3 seasons with the North Carolina Courage. Ashlyn Sarepka and Audrey Harding, the 2 players exiting. Fresh legs higher up the field now for Carolina Ascent, and Mia Corbin, good goal scoring in her past, won the 2022 Golden Boot with Alajuelense when she played in Costa Rica. Flicks forward, and now trying to connect with Baisden. A sliding challenge going to ground, and put out a play for a throw-in. Madison Mernon went to ground there. Long throw, trying to connect with Corbin. Here's Studer. Big deflection right off of Bockham, and because that came off her face, a stoppage in play, and Annika Krill right over to her to make sure she's good, and she's back on her feet quickly. And with a smile.
Never a fun moment.
Didn't think so.
For Jorian's specific case, it did look like it got a little bit of her shoulder before hitting to her face, but I will assure you she'll tell me that it felt like it hit directly into her face. But she should be able to come immediately on, just doing some protocol testing. In terms of concussion, all seems to be good. We saw head referee saying you can come right back on.
Novant Health is proud to be the official healthcare provider of the Carolina Ascent FC. With same and next day sick visits, Novant Health provides care when and where you need it. Schedule online at novanthealth.org. "25 minutes to go in this inaugural Super League match. Carolina Ascent and DC Power. Next up tonight, Spokane and Fort Lauderdale will clash in the Pacific Northwest. We're really going coast to coast tonight. And watch every game in the Super League on Peacock. As this runs into the corner, Baisden couldn't get a touch on it, and out for a goal kick. We have seen 3 subs so far from Carolina. Nothing yet from DC Power. A bit of a smaller roster for DC compared to what Carolina Ascent has at their disposal. Curious to see when and if Frederick Briand dips into his bench at all tonight.
And look just how deep Jorian Bockham is coming back to try to get the ball. If subs were to be made, you would think it would need to be someone in the midfield, someone who, after his own words, is a player who enjoys the ball, someone who wants to have control of a moment like this. That's the type of player that Jorian Bockham needs to help her.
Here's Corbin, the substitute, trying to cut it in fields. Heavy last touch, but Carolina is able to keep it. Baisden continues on. The cross to the back post, headed back centrally. And that's when DC's able to get it away. Again, Baisden cuts it back. Tricoli. Another errant pass. A throw-in going DC's way. Elevate your game day. Carolina Ascent FC offers a variety of pregame, halftime, and postgame experiences to take your group outing to the next level. From marching onto the pitch with the pros to a post-game photo on the pitch, we can customize an unforgettable game day experience for you and your group. Visit CarolinaAscent.com/groups to lock in an unforgettable match day experience. Throwing at DC, and Frederick Briand trying to still some urgency in his side, but another player down for Carolina. Only 1 substitution window available for Philip Poole and Carolina Ascent. Remember, Carolina had to use that sub in the first half as Jill Aguilera was injured. Let's send it down to the 3rd member of our team, Anna Whitty.
Carolinas for the Carolinas is something that is ingrained into what Coach Poole and the Ascent are building. 7 players on Carolina's roster are from the Charlotte area, and they've all said it's really important for the next generation to see professional women's sports in this city, but also get a chance to pursue their dreams where it all started for them when they were really young. Over 24 years living in the Carolinas, Poole's relationships with players from their youth days was really pivotal when it came to building his roster.
So many players with ties to the Carolinas, and Vicky Bruce from Cornelius, North Carolina, played her college soccer right here in the state at UNC Chapel Hill and Davidson. And it looks like Philip Poole is going to have to go to his bench once again. Chat with the midfield.
Absolutely. The midfield right now is going to be so important for Carolina to close this match out. Picking up second balls, ensuring pockets of space are not left exploited, screening the back line. That all now becomes part of the midfielder's responsibility. And when you're talking about holding on to a lead, the most important thing as a midfielder is balance. Making sure that if one goes, the other stays, making sure that there's always someone tucked into the weak side. All of those little moments, the little positioning moments, really start to matter as the game closes out.
Substitution for Carolina. Is Annika Creel, who will be exiting the game for Josie Studer. Studer, in her first pro season out of Louisiana Tech, a 5-time All-Conference USA honoree, second in Louisiana Tech history in minutes played. Will also be B. Hilton coming on, a Charlotte native, the first USL Academy contract signee, currently committed to NC State. And these substitutions are presented by Train Tech. And DeMarco will be the other one coming off. And this is such a big part of what this league is built for. Not only for those players coming out of college, but those going into college and still able to keep that college eligibility.
And I can't stress the importance and the value that that gives to a potential young pro. When you are that young and you are having to make the choice of foregoing college for a professional career, that is a really, really burdensome choice. That's a big decision that involves a lot of people. And this pathway, where you don't have to deal with the ramifications of losing your college eligibility, but you still get the experience, you still get to feel what it's like to be a professional, that is value that cannot be understated.
Hilton, the first USL Academy contract signee in USL Super League history. There's quite a few more that have been signed as these rosters have been filled out over the last few weeks. Excited to see how all of these players factor into their teams in this league in its infancy. Hilton committed to NC State in fall of 2025, so it's a chance to play an entire pro season before she goes to the college ranks. And here is Hilton, moving it off to the far side. Hilton continues her run, but now a shot taken and well wide of goal.
The substitutes for Carolina Ascent have been really crafty on the ball. Players who you can tell they have that creative juice flowing in the attacking third, and they've also provided another energy spark. I've been really impressed that Carolina hasn't decided to sit back. They've really pressed the lines, but DC Power does very well to break those lines of pressure.
Bockham rolls it out wide. DC coming forward. The return ball nearly fell for Bockham, broken up. DC keeps it, a shot coming on and just a bit too tall. Bit better there from DC Power.
And you know, why not? McClellan hasn't been tested at all this second half, barely any in the first, but it all started with the ability to break the lines of pressure. And for DC Power, they built out of the back so much more confidently in that last attacking sequence and ultimately provided them more numbers closer to the goal, and ultimately, I think just their second shot of the night.
Just saw Frederick Briand talking with assistant Zanetta Wine, who is a very experienced pro in her own right. Last played in Saudi Arabia with Al Qadsiya, and she was a player coach. Before that, played at Racing Louisville. Has played all across the world. Has joined on with DC Power as an assistant coach under Frederick Briand. Again floated forward, Bockham on the chase, Studer just enough on that, and is able to keep it for Carolina. It all worked out.
And see, Josh, that's the moment where if you are going to press as a team, if you see the forwards going to press the defenders, the goalkeeper, that has to be the cue for the lines behind them to step up and close the gap. That was all too easy for Carolina Ascent to get out of that mess that could have ended up being a really advantageous turnover for DC. But it's that willingness to step up the back line, keep the thirds connected, in a place where DC Power has ultimately struggled throughout the 75 minutes of this match.
Final quarter of an hour tonight from American Legion Memorial Stadium. Glad to be with you for the inaugural match in the USL Super League. With Marion Crowder here in the broadcast booth, Anna Whitty down on the fields. I'm Josh Eastern. A goal coming in the first half from Vicky Bruce, 28th minute. It's the first of 3 matches this weekend in the opening weekend of Super League action. Spokane and Fort Lauderdale coming up in about 15 minutes. And then tomorrow, Tampa Bay and Dallas. Floated forward, Corbin couldn't get under it. Now Baisden, an ambitious effort from distance, but why not?
Shot wide, goal kick, DC Power.
Are these leg sleeves just a fashion choice these days?
I'm honestly trying to figure it out myself. and I'm gonna pose the question to you. In your co-ed league,
yeah,
you for sure wear one, right?
No.
I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry, I actually don't know.
I thought you were up with the times. We both can't be behind on the times. One of us has to be up with the trends.
We saw them big in the Olympics with the U.S. women's national team as they brought home gold in Paris. And why not make it a thing here in the Super League? DC looking to build out again. Just 3 shots tonight for DC Power, none of them on target. Possession is evened out, 51% of it in favor of Carolina. The time is running thin on DC Power to find a goal on this opening night. Into the touchline, Studer. Out of play, it goes Carolina's direction. And it'll be a free kick because of the foul against Katrina Guiu.
Josh, you mentioned the Spokane Zephyr Fort Lauderdale United matchup that we have coming up here in a little over 10 minutes. And it got me thinking as I'm looking at Spokane's schedule, and they have Carolina Ascent on September 15th. One of the things that perhaps we haven't talked about enough on this broadcast is the lack of scouting tools available to these opening matchups, right? There have been no matches played. There have been very limited preseason matches played. And so we're watching players in real time solve problems, solve different formations, and learn about each other. I assume that that will start to change as these games become more available, as teams become a little bit more used to playing. All of those little nuances that we're used to seeing in a season will start to come to light.
That sub brought to you by Train Tech. It sees Anna Bagley enter for Charlie Escort. Bagley last played for Indy 11 in the USLW League. Played her college soccer at VCU in Richmond, Virginia. Was an all A10 first team player. Going back to your point, it's not just the players figuring things out, it's the coaches as well. And you see some of these changes come off the bench and try to influence things with just fresh legs or tactically as well. Bockham tracking back, wins it for DC. Trying to hold on to possession. Instead, just turns it back for Constant and runs through for Morgan Aquino. Aquino, who started as a youth player. She was a goalkeeper, as she still is, but also a striker. So, if late on, they're still chasing a goal.
You do not hear that every day.
No, you do not. Fortuitous bounce, and now played right through the middle. Bockham trying to get on the end of it. It's McClellan who slides in to take away the chance.
And this all starts because the midfielders are willing to break the lines of pressure. Joyan Bockham with a superb time run. Just finds the space in between the center backs. A lovely little through ball. With this turf, though, the texture of that pass has to be absolutely perfect. It's going to go a little bit faster, as we saw. But then you have to give kudos to McClellan. Did not hesitate at all coming off her line to collect that one. Ultimately, probably the best chance we've seen for DC Power.
A foul against Mia Corbin. If you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. And here comes DC Power cutting it in field. Baisden breaks it up. Coming soon to a Sirius XM Radio, a deep look into the Super League with hosts Marion Crowder, wow, and Anna Whitty. Follow along on Sirius XM FC and on the Sirius XM app.
I've been keeping a secret from you.
I did not know that.
I wanted to see your genuine reaction when you read that. I wish I had a camera on you.
We got both of the co-hosts involved in this broadcast tonight. How fun is that?
It'll be great. I am excited to team alongside Anna with that, to do a deep dive into what this league is, what it represents, what the plans are for the league in the future, and really just to give our audience and our viewers a chance to get to know these players and these organizations on a more personal level.
That's what this is all about, especially early on, getting to know these teams, these players, these communities. And we're learning a lot tonight about both Carolina and DC. Ngok trying to play out, earns a throw-in. Time starting to run thin on DC Power, and the chance creation just has not been there for DC, with just 3 shots and still none on target. Hilton, loose first touch and turned over. This is the start of what is going to be a long season for everybody in the Super League. The first portion of the schedule will take us through about mid-December. There'll be a break, a la, you might see it in the Bundesliga or in other European leagues. A break for a bit of time before in early 2025. The season will restart, and it'll lead up to the playoffs at the end, where the top 4 teams will make it into the semifinals. Bracket format from there into the final, and we saw the trophy at halftime. The winning team's going to lift that piece of hardware.
Along with us.
You're gonna ask, aren't you?
Yeah.
Here's Mia Corbin. Corbin has to play it on the deck. Baisden. Baisden's cross bouncing around and out for a corner kick. Another Carolina corner kick brought to you by Nucor.
And that will be a corner kick, Carolina.
What an impact Riley Baisden has made since coming onto this pitch for Carolina. She has been energetic. She's been committed defensively. And we've also seen moments of her attacking brilliance, her attacking creativity. The last spell of which has led to this corner kick.
Jostling before the corner kick's taken by Renee Guillon.
Taking the kick, number 29, Renee Guillon.
And this is obviously a moment for Carolina. You want to ensure you've got that balance, that structure behind the ball to mitigate any potential counter-attacking opportunities from DC the other way.
Guillon floats it up. There's Aquino who runs into her teammate. 2 DC players down. That's the captain, center back Claire Constant, who is down on the turf. Another stoppage.
And it looks like Aquino collects the ball, and then the elbow just gets Constant in a really unfavorable situation right in the neck area. The captain of this DC Power team, not something you want to see when you're chasing a game.
And we have a DC Power substitution.
And during this, there will be a substitution for DC Power. Phoebe Knowles will enter to replace Mariah Lee. Knowles of Perry Hill, Maryland, played her college soccer at Towson, a 3-time All-CAA selection. It's presented by Train Tech, that substitution. And in her college career, Knowles, 9 game-winning goals of her 21 scored at Towson. May not be a game-winning goal tonight, but it would be a crucial goal for DC if they can find one.
Game-winning goals just mean clutch situations, right? And that's exactly what DC Power find themselves in. A moment where they need a player to come up big in a clutch situation. And time is ticking, and as their captain is going to give the armband to the goalkeeper, it will be hugely important that Knowles makes an impact and makes it quick.
And it looks like they will make another sub here, DC, both in the same window. Looked like it was Alex Kiernos who will be entering, the Woodbridge, Virginia native. Will enter the game for Claire Constant. Kiernos played for the Virginia Marauders in the W League. Her college soccer at Radford, a first-team All-Big South player. Another Train Tech substitution.
And we have another DC Power substitution.
We're seeing some similarities by a lot of these players. They're all conference selections, but as we were talking about earlier, there's haven't been a lot of opportunities to play professional women's soccer in this country, and that's what this league is providing.
This league is exactly what I needed coming out of college. And what I mean by that is it's just another choice, right? It's another opportunity. From a personal standpoint, when I came out of college and tried to go be on trial, you were left with 2 options: continue to try and make a roster, or potentially go on loan overseas. And now you have all of those opportunities that have grown and grown immensely, but you're also adding another opportunity to play professionally at home. And it's not going to be just a handful of teams, right? We're seeing 8 this year, but with 20 set to come in 2026, this really is going to be a major and an impactful movement for women's soccer in the United States.
The inaugural USL Super League season has officially begun. Visit USLSuperLeague.com for all the latest information, analysis, and insight into all things Super League. Every game airing on NBC's Peacock, so you can watch Tonight's game between Spokane and Fort Lauderdale right after this one finishes. Second half stoppage time is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. We still have 7 minutes to go tonight in Charlotte.
Stoppage time is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
DC looking for one last gasp. 12 touches in the opposition box and still no shots on target. Stringer, DC having to turn it back again. Stringer will start things for DC Power. Broken up. Good work from Hilton. Ingok. Mernon and Stringer. DC looking upfields. Trying to break lines. Off the chest. And now DC sprung forward. Cutting this infield. And to track down the loose ball. DC's able to keep it. Trying to connect with Jorian Baucom. It runs through for McClelland. We'll be patient to pick this up.
In these moments, there has to be some dedication. All the dedication, actually, to winning these 50-50 balls. If they're going to choose to punt it away, you've got to be dedicated to not only winning the first, but picking up the second and then making a meaningful pass once you do win it. And DC has done just that, but again, given away just a bit too easily. Been the bit of a pattern for DC this match. Struggling to find openings soon enough, and perhaps that's a little bit twofold. Movement off the ball as well as the decision from the ball carrier. But they've still got time if they can continue to play with this sense of urgency. And as we see Jorian Baucom going up to press, that's the cue I'm talking about. Close up the lines, win the next one.
Studer gets it back in play. Hilton. Hilton decides to veer off to the corner. Based-in. And now Corbin takes it into the corner. And the throw-in will go DC's way. Carolina Ascent is a club built by the Carolinas and for the Carolinas, with a vision to climb, to soar, to trek upward and reach new heights for the Carolinas, both on and off the pitch. From partnerships to single game tickets and group outings, we've got a place for you to empower women's sports across the Carolinas. Join the climb and contact one of our representatives today at CarolinaAscent.com. And they're working hard, Carolina, to keep this in the corner and as far away from goal as possible. Bouncing into the corner, and again, the throw-in for DC. That's what they were looking for. They earn a foul, and now they'll get a free kick. Decide to go quickly, and they will now take more time. Referee wasn't quite pleased with how quickly they took it. 2 minutes to go. DC looking for an equalizer. Here's Hilton. It's been all about the center backs tonight for Carolina. Creel, along with Vicky Bruce, who was the goal scorer all the way back in the 28th minute. Fortunately, though, for Carolina, Annika Creel forced off in this game.
How important is that to have a center back pairing who, as simplistic as I can put it, know how to win? Two winning mentalities. When you look at Annika Creel, a 2023 USL W League winner with Indy 11. Vicky Bruce has won at just about every level. And so to have that kind of experience anchoring your back line, that kind of mentality in your locker room, very valuable piece.
A yellow card to Mia Corbin. It's brought to you by Apollo Law.
A yellow card has been shown to Carolina Ascent FC's.
Mia Corbin's been working hard, but she just comes in a little bit late on that one. Forces the hand of our head referee into a yellow card. But these dead ball situations, I said it once in the first half, I'll say it again, the dead ball situations are very, very important. They become even more important when you're chasing a match because it's a valuable opportunity for you to sneak one back. You don't have to worry about breaking down the lines in the run of play. Just have to be willing to get on the end of it.
Maybe one last gasp for DC. Space out wide. DC Power looking at field, Bockham wide. Arguably her best chance of the night. And DC so close to equalizing.
Not gonna lie, I had started my cheering process because I thought that this was the equalizer. And they take advantage extremely well of the dead ball situation. They find a lot of space out wide, and ultimately it wasn't enough, and Carolina Ascent is gonna go in with 3 points and the first ever win in the USL Super League.
The last touch of the game as it is full time. Carolina Ascent, the first win in USL Super League history. And Vicky Bruce, the hero tonight in Charlotte.
I love that. We don't give center backs credit often. They do a lot of unseen work, and tonight the center backs for Carolina were the star. Annika Creel getting the assist, Vicky Bruce getting the goal, and leading her team to 3 points in their home opener in the season debut. What a special night for Vicky Bruce. What a special night for women's soccer as a whole. And honestly, Josh, I'm so happy that we got to be a part of this.
And now we send it down to the field, and Anna Whitty.
Coach, congratulations on this historic win. Energy was a word that you described about this game. It's sold out. There's a ton of energy in here. What does that say about soccer in Charlotte?
Yeah, I think it's bigger than Charlotte. I think it's USL Super League. I think it's the Carolinas. I think there's a change coming, but a lot of energy tonight. Sometimes the game didn't have as much energy as the crowd brought, but all in all, good night, 3 points.
You mentioned the game. Structure is a word that you continue to yell out to your team.
Yep.
How do you assess your team's structure in their first ever match?
Defensively, I thought we were great at times. We had some problems to fix in the first half, and we did. And then we had some problems to adjust and fix in the build. So we talk about flexibility and freedom in our structure. I don't think there was enough tonight, but again, 3 points, a lot of energy from the crowd. 3
points at home, you get the win. How are you going to remember this inaugural historic match?
I think it's the crowd. I think it's the city of Charlotte. I think this is about the players, it's about the fans, it's about the game. So I'll remember it for them.
Congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
Great to hear from Carolina head coach Philip Poole as Carolina Ascent victorious tonight. We'll come back and have post-game coverage from Charlotte. Don't forget, Spokane and Fort Lauderdale has kicked off as well. The final score, Carolina 1, DC 0. Final score tonight is brought to you by Nucor, the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent FC. It reads Carolina 1 and DC 0, and fireworks to celebrate in the Queen City. Tonight's highlights are presented by Nucor, and early on it was DC Power that were on the front foot tonight.
They were knocking on the door, and you felt like they were inching ever closer to getting the first goal, but it was Carolina Ascent at the end of the day. They grew into the first half, and they used this set-piece opportunity to get the center back pairing on the board. Annika Krill gets the assist. Vicky Bruce with the first ever goal in USL Super League history. But Josh, we still had a long way to go. There were some moments for DC Power in the second half, including this corner kick opportunity where you have to think, bring it down, have a go at goal yourself. But unfortunately, they could not. And then Carolina, they made some key substitutions who came in and impacted the game straight away. They got corner kick opportunities. They continued to press DC Power higher up the field. And for DC Power, they continued to try and find Jorian Bauckham. She finds herself into space, kicks it out wide, and it's the thoughtful delivery, unfortunately not the execution that needed to be done. And this was the only shot, really, that DC Power could get onto the frame of goal to even test McClellan in the second half.
The chances would continue, and right up until the end, this was the last chance of the game.
And it seemed oh so close. We're talking inches away. They make use of a set-piece opportunity. Great ball back into the mix, and Jorian Bauckham tries to connect, does everything right. At the end of the day, just didn't have the magic.
Save of the match is presented by Train Tech. There were no shots on target, but this was a crucial take.
Megan McClellan, if she doesn't come out to make that save, if she doesn't come out to take that 1v1 away from Jorian Bauckham, that's likely a leveled game at 1-1.
Our play of the match is presented by Food Lion, and what else could it be but the first ever goal?
Has to be the first ever goal. A trivia question, a historical moment, a special moment, everything that you could ever want in the home opener, and the player that you could want it for was Vicky Bruce. That is the play of the match, and what a moment, what a celebration.
The player of the match presented by Nucor. She was at the center of it all. The North Carolina native herself, Vicky Bruce.
I was waiting for the drum roll, and who else could it possibly be but Vicky Bruce? She's the captain of this side. She was their first ever signing. It only makes sense that she gets the first ever goal and the first ever player of the match.
The full-time stats presented by Nucor. No shots on target is the glaring stat from DC Power.
And that's something that they're going to want to shore up, but it's also something that we expected. Building those relationships, building those executable moments in the final third is going to be the last piece for most of these teams. DC Power did a lot of positive things, and they're only going to continue to improve. But I was most impressed with Carolina Ascent's ability to grow into this match and close it out with a full 90-minute professional performance.
That will do it for our coverage tonight. A historic night in Charlotte, North Carolina, the inaugural match of the USL Super League. For our entire crew, broadcast partner Marion Crowder, Anna Whitty down on the field, I'm Josh Eastern. Once again, our final score, Carolina Ascent 1, DC Power 0. Good night from Charlotte.